recorded or streamed or put up on any other social media. Just FYI. If I do find my voice on any other social media, I'll be taking action. Do we understand? Hey, Kima, hang on for a second. John, do you hear what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. What was that? Could you say it again?
Yeah, I'll make it really clear for you. Okay. I do not consent to having my voice being recorded or streamed to any other service on social media. I just want to make sure you understand that clearly.
I just want you to hit my Cash App and bio with my 4 cents of ad revenue.
Sorry, what was it? I was just starting some YouTube lives here. I couldn't really follow what you're saying. Could you say it again?
Cool. Yeah, I'm just letting you know that I don't consent to having my voice recorded.
Legal action. It sounds like you're going to block me on a social audio. That's a you problem, Rohan. Oh!
You know what I love about Mr.
I got kicked.
The conversation, the inquiry was engaging.
Bye, Rohan.
Thank you very little. I had to use the bathroom, and it got into back and forth as far as like the customer's legitimacy, and I offered to buy product. Telling y'all, like, I literally looked homeless. Like, I just came back from the gym. I hiked Runyon Canyon today. It was kind of one of those things where it's just like, okay, I'm doing my errand. I just wanted to stop and get some coffee.
Yeah. Okay. I'm familiar with that. Yeah. So yeah, same here. When I go out and about, I kind of look, just like.
Or is that trying to demilitarize any group that might have weapons? Like
it just says,
kind of like Lebanon is doing.
It says demilitarize the Palestinian state for Canada.
Yeah.
That's the wording.
Yeah. Doing good. Hope you're well. And then Palestinian governance reforms. I think they can do that. I'm not, like I said, it's kind of vague, so I'm not exactly sure.
I feel it's a setup, personally. Like, you're saying it's vague. I feel it's very vague too, and I feel it's a setup, and I don't be able to meet the criteria.
There's a couple more qualifiers that are more important.
What are those?
In the horrific terrorist attack of October 7th, that Hamas must disarm, and that Hamas must play no role in the future governance of Palestine. Canada will always steadfastly support Israel's existence as an independent state in the Middle East. Any path to lasting peace for Israel also requires a viable and stable Palestinian state, and one that recognizes Israel's inalienable right to security and peace. So they need to recognize the state of Israel.
You already did that.
I'm just saying that's just one of the requirements that you didn't mention. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, no, I didn't see that. But I don't think the Hamas thing is on the requirements. I think they're just saying that as like a general statement.
No, I'm reading
what I could tell.
A statement from the Prime Minister's office. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. I want to read that because I just read off ChatGPT, so.
Yeah, I like to go to the primary source, so that's the here. I just pinned it in the link. It's from the PM. It's from pm.gc.ca, and then it's Mission of Palestinian State. If you'd like, I would do the same thing for the Macron. For Macron, this came from the French ministry, the French embassy to the U.S. So let me pull that up for you.
This intentions predicated. Yeah, but I'm reading the statement, Yaakov.
Yeah.
And when they list their intentions are predicated on certain conditions, and it goes into like the PA reform, the elections without Hamas, the demilitarization. The next paragraph, I think, the way I'm reading it at least, isn't any longer talking about those conditions.
There it is.
I don't think so, man. I think that's just part of the statement.
It wasn't. Let me go back to. I put France.
They know the PA can't control Hamas. Like
I understand, but what it's saying is that the PA to do a bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah.
The Hamas has to do a bunch of stuff, and then any Palestinian entity has to recognize the state of Israel.
I'm reading it and I understand why you think that, but I don't think that's part of the conditions. Yeah, I'm reading it is,
Okay. The paragraph that starts, we reiterate that Hamas must immediately release.
As a result of this, I personally feel inhibited from being fully open. When I say fully open, not obviously fully open, but more open than what I am, right, in terms of what I say. And when it inhibits me from getting a better experience out of Clubhouse as well. Does somebody else feel the same way?
My whole thing is, I forget sometimes about the recordings and the anonymous feature. And so, depending on what room I'm in, I might, I like to say things.
Kilometers, they don't really give a shit.
And about how thick is the shell for low Earth orbit?
250 kilometers altitude up to 2,000.
Oh, okay.
But nobody really goes above like 700, 800. Because like the self-cleaning portion of low Earth orbit only goes up to about 550, 600.
That's where you start getting burned.
The atmosphere is just thick enough that if your ship breaks, it's going to fall back to Earth. And
I would hate for certain people, not on Clubhouse,
right.
People that I know in real life that I love, but sometimes I might joke about them and their lifestyle choices. I would hate for them to hear that and get the wrong impression. So I have to be mindful that what I'm saying is possibly being recorded and streamed on YouTube. So that's my gripe right there. I don't think I mind the whole recording thing because there's nothing we can do about it. So I just have to kind of check myself,
Wow. John, you're back here for some reason?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to let you know, look at the Anon in the audience. That's me live streaming the room, and feel free to kick me. I'll just live stream the room. I don't care. I'll do it anonymously. It's fine by me.
Again, you don't have my consent.
Again, you can't give consent when you can't give consent. It's anonymous. Good luck, bro, but you can't guard your conversations here. Any of these conversations can and will be recorded.
Boom the room or what?
Well, I'm more than happy to leave. I'll just record anonymously. How does that sound, everybody? I can make everybody happy by leaving.
Yeah,
have a great day.
We can find every account.
John, what that's small to folks, especially in Clubhouse, there's folks that think that space is like that.
It's not even me in the anonymous. I'm just making him paranoid that it's me.
Come through.
They don't think that.
No. The instant I should mention that I work to have a political plan with the UN and have a security clearance and all that, they get all really freaked out that I'm some sort of deep state plant here to
Why when you multiply 2 pi r and you divide it by 365 times 24, bro? Why are we getting this 66666 number, bro? That shouldn't be the speed.
I mean, there's the legal part of it, but there's also the, somebody asked not to be recorded. I think it's kind of just to keep recording them.
Yeah, because John Kitover is a jerk.
Gentlemen. You're no gentleman, sir. Jerks. Only jerks call people jerks, sir. You're no gentleman.
You are harassing. I request you cease harassing us.
You're harassing yourself, sir. I'm merely recording anonymously. You're no gentleman.
Right at the top of one of
the...
we said that the professor's last name was Seitzman. So we said that 666 meters was equal to 1 Seitzman.
The millions of people
assignment in Seitzmans as our unit of length.
Jeez.
He got a good chuckle out of that.
I'll go into the rooms in here occasionally, whenever they get into the numerology or astrology or whatever. And it's just you try to make that point about the arbitrary nature of numbers and base systems, and it's just you talk about communication.
I think I'm doing a fairly decent job of communicating that point, saying it like where the goats can get it. Like, hey, did you ever think about, like, if you were in a different base system, like, I don't know, let's go crazy and say binary, like, that number would look different, right, completely, and it wouldn't mean the same thing, like, right, that's the pushback, right? But the whole, so yeah, but you're talking about the sacred sanctity of the number itself. Like, I'm assuming sacred and sanctity go back before base 10 enumerations, right? Like, am I wrong here? You know, it's like over the mark, bro.
No, and then you tell them the concept of zero came out of the Middle East. With the top tech company that I worked for at the time, and I was driving a 5 Series brand new BMW. I don't know why the cop pulled me over. Honestly, it was a brother. I still don't know why he pulled me over. I think it was maybe curious. I think that he was maybe curious, but ultimately it led to nothing. But I think in short, the point that I'm making is that, racial profiling is an issue, but I think that if you're within a certain class or demographic, then you're a bit more protected.
Let me ask you a question with respect. Because there was something else went wrong with that I never heard of. Special profile within the Black community. Do you feel that's a real thing?
I don't know what it is, but I think that broadly, I think that I think that the outcomes of being profiled and pulled over by a black cop, sort of the outcomes are much better versus if you were pulled over by like a white cop. Like let me give you guys a quick example, and this is back in my college days. I went to Morehouse, which is an HBCU, all-male, very well-known. And I remember driving back, and at the time, I was driving a Saab in college, believe it or not. I was fucked up. I came from a fucking frat party. I was fucked
Good morning, sir.
the fuck up.
My son.
And I was about a mile away from my exit. And it was a sheriff, a black sheriff, who pulled me over. And
you never get close enough.
And so we came in my car. It was clear I was fucked up. And I even admitted it. I was like, yo, bro. I was like, listen, I'm a Morehouse grad. I just came from a frat party. I live in this apartment complex less than a mile away. He let me go. And I know the only reason why he let me go is because I was black, I went to Morehouse, and because I was driving the South. If it had been a white guy, they would have fucking handcuffed my ass in 2 seconds. So I think that there's this nuance that exists within racial profiling that may give the very few black people that may be perceived to be in a certain class based on my experience. And I'm just speaking for me.
Guys, we're going to go popcorn style. Let me say hello to Hillary, William, John Kitover, E. How you doing, E. J. Maddock? Guys, we're going popcorn style. Grab the mic. And if anybody's going to speak, maybe give us a solution to the problem. Because it seems to be systemic through the country.
I want to agree with the person who was just speaking before me. As far as I think that social class has a lot to do with it, if not more than or as much as. Because if you see somebody dressed to the nines that looks like they belong, they're driving a really nice car in a really nice neighborhood, doesn't really matter, what the color of their skin is. You see somebody driving a really nice car in a really nice neighborhood that does not look like they belong behind the wheel of that car, you're going to get pulled over. You're going to get questioned. God only knows how many times I've been questioned about, like, literally, back in New Orleans, just all the fucking time. And, it didn't have anything to do with the color of my skin. It had to do with the fact that I was very young, driving a Porsche, So I got pulled over a lot. And think that, I think I agree that there's a classism that runs parallel to the racism of it.
Let me just say, the only thing about classism is that when you look at wealth stratification across race, is that the chances of coming across a black person who's in sort of the higher levels of wealth are not, the data doesn't prove it. Whereas the majority of black people, based on wealth stratification, you're going to find that the overwhelming majority of black people are going to be in sort of the lower tier of wealth, and at best, maybe the middle tier. So given that data point,
as big of a deal, they were more worried about, tourists and drug and shit and giving people fines for being drunk, shit like that. They had their own. Here, where I'm at, speed limit goes from 50 and it drops down to 30 with no warning, zero warning. And they just sit there and there's just one little 3 miles. That's it. If you're young, white, rich, you can go. They don't even ask you for shit. Everybody else is not. Hispanic, black, Asian, doesn't matter. You're getting ticketed. It's not even realistic. I don't know how they get away with it.
Well, illegal asset, seizure and forfeiture is a major problem if you're going to the casino, coming back to
the Jersey villages. They're self-funded, so all of their money is coming in. Their tickets and all that, it's all coming from that. So, and I don't know.
Profiling people, and I don't think that profiling is also always profiling people, and I don't think that profiling is also always a bad thing, because I think it just sometimes can take into account just information about different demographics, such as if I have somebody that I know who is a black person, I know they might be able to finish my sentence and relate when I say something like, my mom told me growing up, I brought you into this world so I can, and they usually would be able to finish that all together. And I think that when you take into account the entirety of how many different dimensions you can profile a person on every single side, from black people toward me, white people toward me, Mexicans toward me, and in every direction I can think of. And it has been significant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Our conversation here, this is just our conversation. Around DC, it's more about he's with him. I don't think this is purely about government. But I think there will be some component of racial. For under a bridge, he's got a really good setup. You can tell he's been there a while. And it's in a quiet part of DC. That's his little area. I think this is a bigger conversation than just about racism. But of course, I do think there's a component of it. But that's where I'll stop. Thanks.
Hey, Sloan, let me just give me a second, John. I'm going to be honest with you. I specifically threw that question out there because I know you go through DC. That's right.
Yep.
And I wanted to get you engaged, so I'm glad you're on stage. Hang out for a while. John, you wanted to say something? And then we'll go to Chris.
I don't agree with Sloan's DC department. They've taken it over. And so Donald Trump is using federal law enforcement in a way to take over the DC in a swarm type of way that has never been done before. And it's indiscriminate. It's not racist. It's not profiling. They are merely swarming Washington, D.C. Stephen Miller is claiming they're even going to get rid of all the graffiti in Washington, D.C. So in terms of domain or real estate, Donald Trump is officially declaring Washington.
Craig, because Craig's patient's been waiting. Craig, the mic shows, my friend.
No, the only becomes a federal offense. That's just when it works in California.
Wait, Craig, is that true? If you get arrested in DC, it's a federal crime?
For the most part, just depending on what it is.
DC's not a state.
No. There's parts. Yeah, if you do something, say on the National Mall, on Martin Luther King Mall, you do something that there are pockets that are federal territory.
Being federally prosecuted versus being on non-federal property or territories in DC.
Yeah,
it also
matters the nature of the crime. So if you're doing more intelligent crimes, for example, like embezzling or fraud or things like that, those are more likely to be federally prosecuted, as opposed to like if you get arrested for domestic violence or something like that, that's more likely to be considered a state crime.
Thank you, everybody. Sloan, Sloney.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's not much that's going to happen on federal property, really, because, obviously there's federal law enforcement always right there. The most that happens is that you illegally park, and so your tickets are different from a ticket that would come from DC, District of Columbia Police. So that's what I'll say.
That's not true because, like airports, for example, like Reagan or Dulles or any airports around the country are sort of like, I don't know, quasi sort of federal entities. And so if, we've heard about the no-flies list, like if you go and start acting real stupid in airports that, have FAA and other federal agencies, then there's a huge chance that you're going to be prosecuted federally. So I wouldn't sort of dismiss, the role of federal properties and not really being held to the high standards of federal prosecution versus local ones. So that would be an example.
I did not dismiss it. I said that given his example about domestic violence on federal land, that was the example. So I'm like, the most that typically happens around the federal lands in DC are mostly either drinking or the.
Cool. So, as a Republican, with what your last submission was, I'd just like to know why, when Biden says
we our streets of crime and illegal alien, our streets of crime and illegal alien invaders.
No, I'm referring to there being problems in America, whether it be COVID at the time or whether it be crime, and seeing how the principled Republicans, quote unquote, the ones that always stand on small government, we know big government, the government's already too big, drain the swamp, are now the number one people that are now siding with the feds, now being like, oh, okay, yes, we need more government. We need them to go into these cities. We need them to exert more power, et cetera, et cetera. The same people that are now super down with the FBI and everybody else, even though 4 years ago they were saying that's the most corrupt institution.
Yeah, XG. So I'm gonna come out full disclosure. JB knows I'm generally leaning to the right. And the question you just asked is a question that actual principled conservatives are asking the same question that you are asking right now. Right now, principled conservatives do have a problem with federal overreach, but there is a part of this side that I want to call Trump tars. Trust me. I was down with Trump. I voted Trump, but all this federal overreach stuff doesn't apply for Republicans and people like me who are principled. And we got a problem with this, but I will give you the difference and the distinction. You're talking about a virus that had a lot of conflicting information. And overreach of the government and overreaction to that, ruining economies, ruining people's livelihoods due to this overreach versus crime that is right in front of our face. We're talking about immediate rezone of crime that we've been dealing with since 2020. Well, let me finish what I'm saying, and I'm gonna let you dispute. We got direct retribution from crime every day in cities across the U.S., including mine. Absolutely. Where just this week, 150 cars got smashed and broken into in a row. And police can't do nothing about it. We got people's garages and homes being broken into by cracks. Minneapolis has had a ridiculous crime spike since the riots in 2020, where the police are overwhelmed or the police just don't want to do their job because they don't want to accidentally have to kill somebody in the line of their work. So we got a lot of OG cops who know the streets, who know they got experience, have left the force because our mayor, a Democratic mayor, and our governor threw the police department under the bus, allowed the 3rd precinct to burn down, and police have been like, why am I going to stick around and lose my pension and lose my opportunity to retire after all the work I've done in this city? I might as well just cash it in right now. So you got a lot of OG cops with experience that have left the force. You got a lot of cops that are just hanging on, that are just milking it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I just need you to land your plane, please.
Yeah, so the point back to the point XG's making, like, nah, man, principal conservatives are not okay with this federal overreach. And I say that this overreach is a result, a pendulum swing, and a result of the way your side run your cities. It's an overreaction, and I'm not okay with it, but I understand what's going on. It's an overreaction.
Yeah, sure. So my response to that would be, I also would agree that there's conflicting information when it comes to the DC accounts, and that comes from our own White House too, because Trump says that DC is so fucking horrible, the crime's spiking over there, et cetera, things are so bad. Yet on January 3rd of the same exact year, we get a report from DC saying, let's see, this is from the United States Attorney's Office from the District of Columbia, quote, total violent crime for 2024 in the District of Columbia is down 35% from 2023 and is the lowest it has been in over 30 years, according to data collected by the Metropolitan Police Department and announced by the United States Attorney Matthew M. Graves. A breakdown of the data is available here. In addition to overall violent crime reduction, homicides are down 32%, robberies are down 39%, armed carjackings are down 53%, assaults with a dangerous weapon are down 27%, and compared with 2023 levels, with the district reporting the fewest assaults with dangerous weapons and burglaries in over 30 years. So I'm really questioning, what's all the federal overreach needed for a place that has a 30-year low in crime?
Let me just say something really fast.
Guys, gentlemen, Hood, I got you. I was coming to you next because I know you've been trying to jump in. But Hood, after you, I definitely want to go to Nina. So go ahead, Hood.
Yeah, so listen, again, as a 25-year DC resident, homeowner, and I'll just sort of like land with those demographics. Like, listen, I'm shocked that they're throwing out the criminals and the degenerates of DC because they're bringing in wealthy people, wealthy liberals who live in Capitol Hill, wealthy liberals that live in Columbia Heights.
Wait,
let me finish. Wealthy.
You gotta take a breath. I have a question for you, man.
Let me finish.
Okay, but let me just tell you how I run my rooms. You get it? You can't go on these long-winded soliloquies and not ask people to jump in. I get it. You live in DC. I don't. I live in Brooklyn. I got my own crime. The only thing I wanted to ask you is, you see, they're getting rid of people. Where they're putting them? This is healthy debates. We go back and forth. You're more than welcome to come back up. For show a little decorum, man. Nina, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Do you want to chime in, ma'am?
I just want y'all to go get y'all Cheeto out of the office.
Can I just finish? Let me just finish. Listen, the only reason that crime has been reduced.
Okay, I know this lady, Nina was speaking. And it's so important for him to get off with his chest. So, Hood, I'm going to bring you back up one more time. I'm going to ask you to show a little mic restraint. And I promise you'll get to say whatever you like. But we definitely don't interrupt the women on you. Nina, go ahead, ma'am.
Just let it breathe. Let it breathe. I just think that, like, whoever's in office right now is... We're going down the rabbit hole, and are we gonna be able to pick this up? Y'all want me to fix this?
Nope.
I mean, we survived Bush, man. So,
That's true, Chris. That's true, Brian.
But I mean, to be honest, do me a solid.
Yeah,
my bad.
No, it's all good. It's all
My
good.
bad.
But I want to go to Hood because I was a little rude to him. I apologize, sir. But I just run my room a little different. So just get familiar with the lay of the land, and I'll let you speak all night, I promise. But go ahead, Hood.
Yeah, let me just finish. Listen, the only reason, which is like, I don't play this game with white liberals and white conservatives when it comes to the black population and who's better than the other, because I think that white liberals are as racist as fucking white conservatives, and that ultimately the two play good cop versus bad cop when it comes to the needs of black people, especially in DC. And the point that I'm making is that as much as you white liberals, because I think that you're as fucking disgusting and as racist as fucking white conservatives, the only reason that crime is down, let me finish, is that racist white liberals are the ones who are gentrifying DC and pushing poor black native DC people out of DC. That's the only reason why your numbers are looking good in DC, because the only reason why crime rates are being reduced is because racist white liberals are coming into DC and essentially eradicating and weaponizing ethnocide against the native black American population to force them to areas where they can't afford. And so you're no better than racist white fucking conservatives, in my opinion.
So actually, I'll let you go in a second. I have to say. I'll let you go in a second. I have to say something. Thank you. Adam's crazy, Sloan. I hate to do this to you. I need to step aside for 2 minutes. I got to do something with my puppy. Can you guys run it? Just for 2 minutes. Thank you, Sloan.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And Sloan, don't be afraid to move people down, please. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay. Who wants to respond to Hood?
Yeah, me, because it was addressed to me. So let me address the fucking degenerate retard that thinks I'm a white liberal. First of all, I'm not.
Yeah.
Second,
I've never said you were a fucking white liberal. I don't even know who you are, bro.
Dude, I'm Afro-Latino. Shut the fuck up, since you wanted so much fucking speaking time.
Why are you so upset,
You wanted
bro?
so much fucking speaking time. No, because
Okay,
you ended up you tried to attack me and characterize me based on something that I'm not, which is something that I'm not gonna do. Again, I'm not doing that with you. So if you want to go headbutt fucking concrete walls, go ahead and do that on your own time. You want to do cannonballs into empty swimming pools, go ahead and do that. You want to go ahead and wear the bungee cords for your fat ass as a belt, go ahead and do that. Don't fucking try me. Right idea, wrong bitch. So again, everything I stated was statistically correct, because you can give the reasons why, and I'm more than happy to agree with you. White liberals are fucking garbage, which is why I'm not one of them. Because A, I'm not white, and B, I'm not a liberal. I'm a fucking socialist. I'm completely different than the fucking libs. So I agree, their methods of fucking doing things or trying to fix things are not fucking conducive to a lot of the things that they think that they're doing, especially with a lot of them having the white savior complex that they do. So I don't disagree there. But again, just to point out that statistically it is true that DC is at a 30 fucking year low in crime, yet Trump is trying to act like it's a hellhole of a city. It's insane considering that Miami, the place that he has residences at and the place he has property at, is statistically more dangerous than DC is right now. So yes, it's a fucking bridge. Definitely your little identity. Because of bridge, white liberals have fucking run out of your mouth while you're at it. You fucking stupid. Right. Are you fucking need to call your uncle to give you some things?
Fucking white liberals are as fucking disgusting as fucking white conservatives.
Jesus
Christ.
Get over it, bro. And the black conservatives are hanging on the same trees as the white liberals.
This person on stage, whoever got that opinion.
Okay. Who wants to respond to XG?
Oh, yeah, I like that one segment that just made everybody get quiet. That's crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah, bro. I don't know if he was going to be. My bad. I'm trying to step on toes. I'm like XG. Both you and Hood got some points, but I think all of us missing the overall point. People do play with statistics, man. They doing the same thing in my city right now. XG analytics. Anybody that does any accounting by the minimum amount of accounting, you can figure out a way to allocate a result by moving it over here and inserting X there.
So statistics ain't gonna tell you what people actually are experiencing and dealing with on the ground, bro. Like 150 cars broken into one night, and this is the second time within 1 month.
Blake, let me jump in.
Go ahead.
Thank you, because I gotta do a quick reset. Because we're getting totally off topic, but let me just say this. Is racial profiling real? Racial profiling, this is the vote. Absolutely real, total hogwash, figment of people's imaginations. It's a bigger issue than I realized. And we got some cool people down here. We got Rebecca, we got V-Bird. What's up, V-Bird? Mike, how you doing? KK, good to see you. Mia, good to see you. Jordan, how you doing? Guys, hold on, let me finish my reset. We have one person on stage, I'm curious who voted. It's a figment of people's imagination. That's interesting. VP, welcome to the stage.
Yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, I think most people, when they talk about people being racist, and they can't give any tangible evidence of something personally that they can point to and say this is racist and this is what happened. Every time this conversation is talked about, it's talked about at a super high level, as if everybody's racist, and I think that's the figment of people's imagination. Nobody has.
So wait, I just want to get clarity. No, you don't have to mute up. I just want a little clarity. So basically, you're saying racial profile is fake.
It's fake in the sense that people say that these people are racial profiling, but them themselves are just as equally racially profiling others. So to me, that doesn't add up unless you have physical, tangible something. Nobody has ever. I'd like to see somebody on stage give an example of how they personally were racially profiled and continue to be racially profiled.
Okay, so
I can give an example.
All right, hold on, William. I haven't heard from you. We'll go to William Wood, and then we'll go to the great Nicholas. William, go ahead.
I can give a specific example of actually witnessing racial profiling from inside of a police car. When I was a law student, I was down in Miami. One of the things we did was a police ride-along. And that was part of the assignment for criminal procedure. And so we rode along with the police and did that for a couple of nights. And they definitely were pulling people over, popping up over curbs, doing, U-turns in the street and going after people because they were black. And I witnessed it several times, and it's real. So this is just some actual tangible proof that it does happen, and I've seen it, and I've seen it done from the inside of the car.
Yeah. Nobody's saying that it's not real. Of course, there's racist people in this world. What I'm saying is people
let me ask you a question. Respect, let me ask you a question, then we go around the room. I don't know how old you are, it's not my business, but do you know who violent or no?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's racial profiling happening right this second. I'm not saying that they can't even give me examples of how they're racially profiled. They're pointing to Rodney King or to this or that, but them themselves don't got no examples for themselves. They're just like basically pushing narrative that they want to be true.
Blake, you want to say something, Blake?
Yeah, absolutely. Rodney King, JB. The Rodney King was being chased for felony fleeing for being drunk while driving. Driving about 100 miles an hour before they finally caught up to him. That's not saying not saying legally he deserved to get his butt whooped. But after chasing a guy at 100 miles an hour while driving drunk, I think that even some brothers probably would have put hands on him. So that wasn't racial profiling. That was police. What do you call that? What do you call that? The misconduct. Brutality. That was police brutality, but that wasn't racial profiling. That was a brother driving well beyond speeds that are safe for him and other people on the road, and he was evading the police, refusing to stop. And when he finally stopped, that's the part of the tape that they didn't show. They didn't show chase. They didn't give America the full context. They showed the car get pulled
Okay,
over.
but so I use a bad example.
Yeah.
Can you give a better example of racial profiling?
Well, hold on. Can someone just give an example?
You got one already. If you want an example of racial profiling, just look at Obama's 2008 campaign and the birther movement.
I mean, you're talking about people who personally experienced it, right? I mean, I can give extensive examples of where I personally experienced it.
You already answered your question. You want people to keep answering your question? There's some people waiting to talk.
Well, it'd be nice for somebody to give an example of how they personally have to go through it every single day.
Sure, this is me. I'm not going to say that I have to go through it every single day. But I live in California, and once again, I had said earlier I'm mixed. I was in Roseville a couple of weeks ago with somebody, and there was a ton of white people out there, and they all start calling me a nigger and start calling another black guy that I was with a nigger. So that's something that actually does happen out here in California, especially in certain demographics or certain areas. So that's something I've experienced. But another thing, when I had went to a part that was very close to that city, I was talking to a couple of guys. They were friends of a friend, and they just make little passive suggestions that are racist. They made an implication. If you're familiar with Sacramento politics, they made some implications like, are you part of this particular gang and stuff like that, that they obviously wouldn't make toward any other white people. Also, it's the racial profiling that you can experience is not just from white people too. Even black people experience racial profiling from other black people. I've had people walk up to me and ask me, where are you from? Trying to figure out what set I'm from or where if I gang or anything like that, or if I'm neutral or anything like that. Whereas they wouldn't have done that with somebody who's white, and that's experienced regularly out here. So like if you are somebody who has experienced actual racial profiling, I'm not saying that it rules my life or anything like that, but it's definitely something I have to be aware of. If I go to certain neighborhoods and certain bars or certain establishments, if I go to the club, there's been mass shootings out here that have happened just from people getting into it, trying to figure out where somebody's from. And then there's also, of course, pockets of white people, and I'm not a racist toward white people or dislike white people, but there is some racism that does go on. And it can be something that's very regular. So, yeah, I think it does affect people's lives.
I'm not talking about people getting hurt because of someone called them a name. I'm talking about someone actually have like some type of consequences in their everyday life.
I have an establishment that I've never been banned from.
I'm talking about
hold on a second. Because I'm going to tell you one thing, man. The great Nicholas, he's been very patient, but I'm telling you, the dude won't wait much longer. The great Nicholas, the mic is yours.
Okay, I was going to say, so first of all, I think the question is really silly, right? You're setting up this impossible scenario where someone has to be racially profiled every single day for it to qualify as racial profiling, which I find to be ridiculous, to be an expectation from its start. I think that question is just silly. And the second thing, I actually want to back up real quick to Brother XG. You really should go on the Google and do your research before you talk about certain cities' crime rates, because DC has 2 times the amount of violent crime as the city of Miami. And also Doral, where Trump's golf course is 5 times safer than the city of DC, both in violent crimes and in murder. So check your facts before you come for my city. DC is way more... per capita? Yes, per capita. DC is way more violent than Miami. I'm done.
I don't know. I gotta be honest. I've never been to DC, so I don't know. I'd like to go. I'm a history buff. Just never got down there. So maybe what? Go ahead, Nicholas.
No, I was gonna say we're almost
in DC, man. People think DC is like secluded and shit. Like it's all government. They think like no, it's a lot of. DC is a real fucked up environment around that White House, man.
I was gonna say to JB was like we're like a near 50-year record low crime rate in Miami-Dade County. So I just think some people are still thinking Miami vibes 1970. That shit does not exist anymore down here. The city's well controlled, well policed. And Doral, where his golf course is actually pretty wealthy. So the comparison is just fucked up. I'm done.
So, Mother, why is he acting the way he's acting?
We're talking about DC and versus Miami. I don't know what your question is about.
The guy that was speaking, who was that said that he just experienced something where he went out and everybody was calling him a nigga?
That was me. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't understand.
Bro, I'm gonna be honest, bro. I don't believe you. Like, it bothers me that these. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a demographic of black people that haven't really been oppressed in life, period. Like they was pretty much born with a silver spoon. They never really experienced the inner city activities. And for somehow when they get older, they want to be a part of certain conversations to the point where they exaggerate.
Realistically, I
listen, bro. It's easy to say certain things in conversations if you're not a thinker. Man, you can't tell me in 2025 you and your friends as a collective decided to find a location where you just so happen to be around a group, right? Because even in 2025, let's say you found one racist person in a bar. You telling me that the whole fucking establishment was calling you a nigger? Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, that's just so fantasy. That's TV shit. Like, let's cut the bullshit to have. Let's have real conversations. Let's have real conversations. Let's have real honest conversations. And let's not try to trauma bond and make up fake ass stories just for the sake of diversity.
Well,
it's weird.
RJ,
let's do that.
Let me jump in here real quick. RJ, first off, man, Brooklyn Love, it's good to see you. I haven't heard from you in a minute. Hope everything's well with you and your family. But I have a question for you. Is racial profiling real in America? And does it only impact the black community? Does the Latino community also get racial profiled? What do you think, RJ?
I think that America is still a baby to civilization, and it was built literally on racism, and we haven't been far removed as of yet, right? We only maybe 150, 200 years where it even started to stop. So I feel like we have a lot. We're still going to have a lot of prejudice towards one another. There's still going to be conversations about, how you feel one group may act, or you could identify someone and often in your mind you're prejudging what someone is like. That's going to always be a thing, and I think that we still need at least about 200-300 years for us to not even speak about race at all.
Thank you, RJ. Man, I appreciate you. Hang out for a while. We're having a great conversation here.
How dare you host a space like that?
Easily, I opened up the room and people showed up. That's how I did it.
Where did you get these weirdos from?
Hold on, V, hold on a second. Hold on. So I gotta say hello to Vero real quick. I was almost saying good morning, Vero. How you doing, Vero?
How dare you?
How dare I? The cracker in the corner is talking race relations in America. What am I thinking? But Vero, do you think racial profiling happens in the Latino community as well?
I mean, I'm a white passing Latina, so I think so, yeah. I think so. Not as much as in the black community, though, for sure. I just saw ice rain down the street. Like, it's crazy out here. That's profiling.
What's up, Chris? How you doing, Chris? Say hello to Chris and then Marcus. Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm good, brother.
You want to chime in on the subject, sir?
Yeah, so I would say this. One, racial profiling is absolutely, positively real. And it's not just for black folks. Because, we grow up in certain parts of places, like where I grew up, there was a lot of blacks and Mexicans, and they treat the Mexicans just like they treat us. Even if us and the Mexicans don't get along, the police and the other side, because I say, there's our side and the other side, they treat us the same. So racial profiling is absolutely real for blacks, Mexicans, and anybody of color. Like, if you are a person of color, you get profiled because it will be like, you're not white. And that's enough sometimes. Sometimes that's enough. And that's not me saying like, oh my God, I'm a victim of the system or systematic oppression or none of that shit.